Okay, back to the conversation. We were talking about why drones technology has become so fascinating to people, but it has also become a multiplier for companies. Now, Stefano, you had introduced yourself earlier, and you talked a little bit about that, and I'd just like to reemphasize, what does it mean for a drone to be added to a company's, let's say, that does inspections of cell phone towers?
Okay, well, it's a very tough job to do these inspections. It's a dangerous job. Normally they would use helicopters or a ground crew that has to go from tower to tower and do an on-the-spot survey. And typically they would then go back to their offices, process the data and the information, and give all that information to an engineer who will then go back to the tower and do whatever he needs to do. With one of our drones, and the artificial intelligence programmed into those drones, we can give actionable, real-time information to that engineer on the ground, and it saves the post-processing in the office. It cuts that right out. So you're saving time and obviously tons of money, and you're reducing the amount of people that are in the office looking at a computer screen and processing that information. The computer's doing it all in real time on the drone as he's doing the inspection, for example.
Okay. Travis and I have a unique relationship, friendship, whatever you want to call it. I am his student. So this is kind of why we're making this video right now, is because as the National Junior Vice Commander for the Military Order of the Purple Heart, I can tell you that we have a lot of veterans that are out there that suffer various forms of disability, whether it be a post-traumatic stress disorder issue, whether it be a loss of limbs, prosthetics. And Travis, you and I talked a little bit about this before. Tell me a little bit about how could someone that, say, had lost an arm, could they actually become a drone pilot?
Oh, absolutely. You see radios, the radio control of these systems, they oftentimes have two sticks, and you would think that you would need to have two limbs to be able to manipulate the controls, but in actuality you can use this single joystick to control these systems. Somebody like that could have something made that way for them to where they only need the one arm to operate the system. But going a step further, say a lot of their missions are just planned by waypoints, or they're just doing like survey grids. That's all done like on a phone through an app, or a tablet or a computer. You just click and you tell it what you want to do, at what altitudes, at what speed. You send it off on its way, and it can perform that autonomous mission without your hands having to be on anything. You're able to free yourself up and focus on the mission at hand and the system, and that just takes minutes to do that. And say you did have something that you have to take the manual controls of the system back again to the single operation joystick, you could definitely do something like that with these systems especially.
So someone in a wheelchair, someone that's even with prosthetic limbs, I mean, there's ways that they can become a part of this industry.
Absolutely. One of the first students we had in the class actually had a glass bone disease. Mm-hmm. He was a pretty fragile guy, and that's why he got into this, because he's like, this is something I can actually do. I have not been able to work in so many years because of my disease, but I can do this. All I have to do is program this into a computer and send the drone on his way. And now he's off flying for I don't know what company, but he's having a good time. He's living his life, doing his career, and it works for him. It works for his lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to feel like what's going on in your life or your physical abilities would prevent you from being a part of the workforce. You can still feel like you're capable of doing things, and this unmanned technology provides that to you. It's valuable for the companies in terms of their bottom line, and it's valuable for you on a personal level. You feel like you're accomplishing something.
There is some therapeutic value of this. I mean, I
Absolutely.
enjoy it myself. It's a lot of fun. So, Dan, you're here in America. And so you're the American connection here with Drone Volt. So how did that all come about?
Actually worked for a drone company previous to this, but when I had the opportunity to move to Drone Volt, it was because the drones that Drone Volt makes are involved in many industries, many different verticals. You know, people think of a drone as something that takes a picture more often than not, but as the guys have been saying, the data collection that you can do with sensors on a drone is unbelievable, and it's used in many industries. We have a drone we were showing this weekend that was able to deliver a life preserver to somebody offshore that might be in trouble and need rescue. You know, we're working with a company to take tools from one spot to another and deliver it to guys working on a construction site. You know, the careers aren't only in those kinds of industries, but the drone industry itself, between pilots that are needed, drone maintenance technicians, repair, drone repair. There's so many different industries that the drones will be part of, that you can take your love of mechanics and use that with drones as easily as you could your interest in flying, and use drones to satisfy that interest as well.
You know, one of my favorite drones, actually, that I would really love to get a chance to fly sometime is this one right here. Could one of you talk a little bit about this, because I know this is a new one for you guys, right?
Yep.
Whichever one of you that wants to talk about it.
Let's talk about the flight profile.
Yeah, why don't you talk about the, I'll give a little introduction.
Okay.
It's a brand new drone for us. We're just introducing it in the US market first. This is really the first production piece right here in front of us. It has about a $4,400 retail with the camera that it comes with. But the idea behind this drone is that it doesn't have a lot of moving parts other than the propeller. It comes out of a box, it's put on the ground, turned on, and it's deployable extremely fast. There aren't any arms that have to fold out. You don't have to do a lot of assembly. The battery will even travel in this thing. And the other thing that's pretty neat is that it's made with a 3D printer.
That's amazing.
So that parts can be made on location if need be, but certainly a company with a fleet of these drones can manufacture parts for their fleet. And Travis, I'll let you talk about the flight aspects.
So this system is a very smooth yet aggressive flyer. So if you are ever in any type of bad weather situations and you need to be able to still maneuver a system in that weather, this will definitely do so. It can fly up to 55 miles per hour, 90 kilometers per hour, I believe. The sensors, right now we have a FLIR Duo on it, so you have electro-optical RGB, coupled with your thermal, with your long wave infrared. But that can be changed. You can take and put like a mica sense on there, which is a multispectral sensor. You could, put just your general electro-optical sensor, like a Sony RX0. There's multiple payloads for this. There's a nocturne or photonus nocturnes, and there's also sensors called colibris. So, and as we talk about different sensors, obviously the price starts to change, especially with the colibri. You're looking at a $20,000 setup. It's a very capable sensor, active tracking, thermal, high resolution thermal, 640 by 512 pixel resolution, and with high definition video. The battery charges about an hour. Depending on your flight, the atmospheric pressure outside, you're going to get about 25-minute flight time with this system. This can be programmed to do autonomous missions. It can be flown manually yourself. It's got quick release propellers for quick fill changes and whatnot. What you see with this is what you get, really. It's you open up the case, you pull it out, throw your props on, get in the air. It's about being able to do missions quick. It's especially when for like search and rescue applications, time is time sensitive, right? You want to get up there in the air as soon as you possibly can. The thermal normal in the high definition video feed back on your control station. You have visuals of what you're looking at. But back to what Dan was saying, you know, the 3D printing technology that they're actually employing in this system here is pretty fantastic. This is a very, very strong material, and though it is strong, I mean, it can break if you were to wreck the system, but that's the beauty in it. If you were to break it, you can print it. You can print it again, and get back out there and keep working, you know, keep trucking on. Another thing is the batteries are lithium-ion batteries. So drones typically fly on lithium polymers. We know lithium polymers have a 6-month half-life and are susceptible to exploding. You have to give them tender, loving care. Not with these. You can be a little bit abusive if you need to be, or if you want to be.
What's the lifespan on those in comparison?
Lithium ions, you're still looking at about a year before you start seeing some serious cell degradation. With any lithium technology, it's typically a 6-month half-life, but lithium ions tend to be a little bit more forgiving in terms of how they degrade over time. So with lithium polymers at 6 months, you might see them degrade significantly from that point forward. Lithium ions, you can truck those on for a good long time.
So as we're talking about this, and I want to give you guys one chance to say some parting comments before we go, but the point is this, that just because you've been injured, just because your military career has ended, because you've been wounded, you've served your country honorably, we want you, as our Purple Heart recipients, to know that there are people like this that are willing to help you, train you, put you back into the workforce, and in some cases possibly even working back with DoD again, because many of these drones are used in that application. So don't think just because you've been knocked down to the saddle you can't get back up, because you can.
Absolutely.
And what I would like to do is just ask each of you in your own words, tell me, what do you think that, how do you think that becoming a drone pilot or getting into the drone industry could benefit someone like myself, or someone that has lost a limb, or someone that's been wounded, or possibly someone with post-traumatic stress? We'll start with you.
Well, the drone industry, drones in general, are somewhat of a disruptive technology in that it will eliminate some jobs in certain sectors, but they will create so many new jobs, so many new qualifications that it's mind-boggling. I mean, becoming a pilot is just one of them. Software engineers, people who are willing to program the algorithms that go into these drones. There are so many opportunities that it's incredible. Right now there is a shortage of pilots, especially qualified pilots for drones. That would be the first step. And once you become a pilot, then you can venture into the technical side of the industry. And so physical disability is not a professional disability. There's opportunities out there, and we need these people.
And what's interesting about you, Stefano, is we had a wonderful conversation yesterday about your service and you being a member of the Swiss military.
Yeah, well, most people know Swiss. We have a militia army, and all males have served. So we've never fought a war, thank God. But these drones have a lot of military applications. I guess some people would call that the dark side of things. But,
right.
They're there to save lives. These things in an urban environment could help people peer around corners or peek into that second floor, right? And keep the squad in a safe place while you do that. That's just one of the basic things you can use drones for. So you can save lives as well. We have some drones that are programmed to look for mines and IEDs. Yeah, it gets technical, it can get sad in certain situations, but there it is.
Travis, what would you say to someone that is getting out of the military right now? What would your advice be to them when it comes to the drone industry?
Well, start off by either doing your own research, digging deep, or taking some type of class, and get yourself a commercial operator's license, and then start learning a little bit more about the technology. With that, it's an excellent hobby as well as a career. So then, as a hobby, it's very therapeutic. It could also make you want to pull your hair out, depending how deep into the hobby you want to get. I'd say just if you want to be therapeutic, just stay on the crust of it. You know, don't get deep into it. But you know, going out there and educating yourself is going to be about the most important thing, because the more educated you are, the less stressful this is, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make this therapeutic for you and a career at the same time, a fun career. You know, so not many people get to have fun careers, and that's what this is. So it gives a new outlook on life if you've come out of something so dark as war, and you get to play with these things and get to fly these things, and if you were injured, it's no problem to still be able to use these things. Some of them are even voice command. You can voice command some of these systems to take off and go forward, and that's kind of the beauty with Drone Volt, is they also offer a research and development type of ordeal. I'm saying funny, but yeah, they'll do some R&D. So if you have something that you're looking for these systems to do specifically that they don't currently do, they will work with you to make that happen. If you want to do voice commands, they will work with you to make that happen. You know, so they can grow with you.
Yeah, and I think I'd like to add, remember the phrase that I use a lot, there's a drone for that. So if your interest is agriculture, there's a drone for that. Taking data from fields of crops growing, when they're ripe, those kinds of things. Same thing with construction. If you're into construction and can't use your hands or limbs like you used to, there are drones needed in the construction industry as well. Deliveries, and you can go on and on about all the different things you can do with drones. And when you think about it, just about every industry, there's a drone for that. So that's kind of a slogan I like to have people think about and remember that.
Yeah,
whatever your
absolutely.
interest
There's
is.
a lot of knowledge out there, and these drones can help harness it and bring it back into the marketplace.
Yep.
The beautiful thing is you and I had the discussion about bringing you gentlemen to Charleston, or I'd love to have all of you next year for the Military Order of the Purple Heart National Convention. I would love to invite you and your companies to be our guest, and if you wouldn't mind, do a presentation on this to our wounded veterans that are there, who will be participating in that. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's stay close in touch, work on all these things, but let's work on that too. Come back and show everybody what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, thanks a
very
lot.
much.
Yeah, thank you
very much.
I appreciate everything that y'all are
Appreciate you.
doing.
Whoops.
And
Great.
folks, just remember that if you want to learn about drones, what's your website? Where can they go?
Drone Volt, one word, DroneVolt.com.
MetatronUS.com. That's METATRON US.com.
All right, folks, there you go. And with us and the Military Order of the Purple Heart, we want to thank you for this opportunity, and we say we'll see you next time.